Morning, mid-January, very grey, Haresfield abandoned railway station somewhere just behind the camera. Welcome to Every Disused Station Number 42, where we try and visit every disused station in the country. There is 6,800. We visited around 400, so I'm guessing that's around about 4, 5, 6% thereabouts. But for the meantime, welcome to Every Disused Station Number 42 from the Stonehouse and Nailsworth branch line. This video is also sponsored by good people at Nord. I'm getting that in very quickly because there's a train coming. Thanks Nord. Check out the excellent deal that Nord have got on offer for you today, a bit later in the video. I'm fairly confident nothing exists of Haresfield anymore because it's alongside the main line that exists today, the Gloucester to Bristol line. But there are some old fence posts along here, so I'm guessing the old platform would have been almost right in front of me now. Right, we're going to head south. We're going to get to today's main event, which tells a few interesting stories. It wasn't my intention to film anything along the line down to where our branch comes off, but driving past just saw this joyous overbridge, Prout's Bridge, wonderful ironwork underneath. If you get a chance to kind of have a look at this, wow, well, I've not heard of this, Prout's Bridge. Today we find ourselves in the Cotswolds, just about here. The first line in this part of the country came via Brunel and his Great Western Railway in 1841. This included a short line up to Cirencester as part of the part-built Cheltenham to Swindon section of line. Then came the Bristol to Gloucester Railway in 1844, taken over shortly by Midland Railway. A year after that, GWR caught up and made their link up to Gloucester. Our journey today is going to see us look at the potentially significant branch line leaving the main line at Stonehouse. So it's not just the landscape that can give away clues to old railways, old canals and old abandoned things, but it's also houses. If you look at the houses just past there, they're curved, and the reason why they're curved is because this is the start of the Nailsworth, or the Stonehouse and Nailsworth branch line. So the first clue in today's railway walk is this old footbridge, hiding much of its original construction. So the train you see just gone off into the distance has just gone through what would have been Stonehouse original station, built in 1844 with the main line. Off to the left of that scaffolding, you'd have seen the branch line that we're talking about today, the Stonehouse and Nailsworth branch line. And there's a few clues to its existence. There's a bit of old track still down on the left of the main line here. And of course, why did I mention those houses curving off to the left as a clue to the landscape and the history of the area? Well, they backed on to that branch line, and you can still see some of the old fencing now that curves round as well. But we continue on this curved pathway behind these houses, and we'll see what else we can find along the rest of the line. But before we do that, let's have a very quick word from our sponsors, who are this week NordVPN, a virtual private network, and they've got some deals on which you could take advantage of. NordVPN is a virtual private network which we use on a number of our devices. It's a tool that encrypts your internet traffic, essentially hiding your IP address and virtual location. It has a number of benefits, including the security side, which is essential for us. It stops third parties from being able to view your online activity, even as simple as stopping them from placing adverts forever in a day on the thing that you've just Googled. There are still many websites that don't use the S in HTTPS, and if you unwittingly click on a link or a website without one, straight away they can have your data. NordVPN gives you the extra layer of security protecting your online data. One of the most useful features of NordVPN is being able to change your location, your virtual location, at the click of a finger. Football matches or concerts that you want to watch from another country, simply change your location and voila, it changes your IP address and redirects the internet traffic through a different remote server. So you can sign up by using the link in the doobly-doo below. You can sign up for Nord's amazing deal, nordvpn.com/the Whitewicks, and you will get 70% off a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month free for only £2.63 per month. If a VPN is for you, you can help support this channel by signing up to NordVPN using the links below. Thanks for sticking around. Even if you skipped it, whatever. You shall be rewarded. So I walked along a bit of the Stroud Water navigation, which ultimately links up with the Thames and Severn, Sapperton Tunnel, you name it. And I'm trying to get away from the Stroud Water navigation, although there will be a video at some point in the very near future about the Stroud Water navigation, but that's not today. What I'm looking for is a cycle route, I think cycle route number 45, because you can walk or cycle quite a lot of this abandoned railway, and in fact I'd almost get to say nearly all of this abandoned railway. So we already know that GWR have got their line down from Gloucester through the Cotswolds, Sapperton Tunnel, the railway tunnel, and down to Swindon. And we already know that Midland Railway have got their way down from Gloucester to Bristol too. What we haven't got is Midland Railway having a link to the south coast yet. So along comes an independent company and they want to link Nailsworth. Now, it's only a mile or so, or maybe a couple of miles further south than Stroud. But of course, this was railway mania, so everybody wanted a railway connection. Midland Railway were very happy with this and obviously backed them, despite the fact that perhaps as a branch line they saw no money in it, but what they did see was something else. So here's potentially our first interaction with the Stroud navigation. Kind of cross it at an angle. There's even an old little barge, I say little, old freight kind of barge down there. I wonder how old that is. Right, onwards to Ryford. So Ryford is now pretty much industrial estate. Absolutely nothing to see that I'm aware of, but it was a big station. There's a couple of mills either side, and I think in its heyday there were a few branch lines. We're coming into Dudbridge and Stroud, just to its west, and you can see some of the mills over there in the distance. They're starting to crop up now a bit more, and this whole valley is full of them. So it's worth remembering, at the opening of this line in 1867, the Somerset and Dorset hasn't been built yet. Now, for that reason, likely the Midland Railway Company are very keen to help and take over. Now, it's almost run out of money within day one of opening. So within a year, I think Midland Railway had bought them out or taken it over at the very least. I'm going to guess and speculate largely because they really still needed that connection to the south coast. So Dudbridge Station is an unexpected little surprise. Passed here many a year before in the car without realising that was actually here. I thought it was kind of on top of the embankment, but actually I'm kind of stood on the platform level there and you can still see bits of the platform, which is great. Newly built subway at the end, which is pretty much exactly where the track bed would have gone. And obviously continues on Route 45, National Cycleway 45. So let's head that way and see what else we can see. But before we do, huge walling here, which obviously kept the embankment behind off of the station. But I'm guessing this bit here was a recess for a signal box perhaps. We're probably only a small part way down the station, depending on how big it was. End of Dudbridge Station, big mill up there again, or I assume it's a big mill. Embankment walling there again. I wonder if we're still at the station. I think we're slightly above the level of the track bed, not completely sure. So we have passed the sub branch line, the branch that went up to Stroud. There's not a lot to see. The old Stroud station of Midland Railway was pretty much now covered by a main road. We shall continue our journey along route number 45. So another 1.5 miles down and we've reached Woodchester. That's not Woodchester station building, although that's roughly where it would have been. Woodchester was made out of wood, very cheaply built, because it was built 6 months after the line opened. So what that tells you is a couple of different things. Number one, the line ran out of money very quickly. So when they did put the station here at Woodchester, it was built very much on the cheap. And number two, the reason why they built it 6 months after the rest of the line, it's quite a quirky story. So apparently the objectors to it opening immediately realised that there was a local Catholic church, and they were concerned that that would encourage people to get off the train here and go and visit the local Catholic church. Now, I know very little about religion, so I'm guessing that wasn't a good thing at the time. Perhaps Catholic worship at the time was not very popular. So we've just journeyed past the massive Dunkirk mills, and they were responsible for making walking sticks and trousers, clothing, stockings, hosiery, you name it. They were involved in quite a lot, and the reason attributed to a lot of their success is the use of these ponds just down here to my right. As we come into Nailsworth, they used to fill these ponds overnight when none of the other mills upstream were working, and they filled them 3, 4, 5, 6, these huge great ponds, and utilised the water throughout the following day. So we're literally just coming into the northern end, shall we say, of Nailsworth, where the station and that would have started, or at least the goods yard would have started, and we're looking for the site of where there would have been a turntable. Apparently there wasn't a turntable, but there was a turntable. So the line was open for, or was said to be open for passengers and goods, 1867. Colonel Yolland, now we know Colonel Yolland before from other tales around the country, worked for the Board of Trade, and he said, well, at the time we're not very keen on tender engines going backwards, or leading, shall we say, therefore I'm sorry, you can't open this line because you haven't got a turntable. The company pointed out very quickly that they did have a turntable at either end. So they had one back at Stonehouse, and they had one just to my left here somewhere. Not sure where, but yeah, Colonel Yolland, big fan of Colonel Yolland. He was very, very much pro-safety when not many other people were, or at least the companies perhaps weren't. I'm not sure what shot I'm going to get of Nailsworth, and the big question again that's on my mind is how Midland Railway thought they were going to head south from here and get to the south coast using this line. It's a big question mark because right ahead of me is a huge hill, so I need to look at the geography and that and try and understand it a bit better, but I can kind of understand why soon after, maybe sort of within 15 years after, the branch of the Somerset and Dorset was then used by Midland Railway from Bath to get down to the south coast, and they had their connection, quite a successful one for a period of time. But yeah, there's a good shed just up there, station just up there, private residence. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little video, Every Disused Station number 42. If you have, click subscribe and do all the good things. And of course a big thanks to this week's sponsor, which is NordVPN.